Welcome to the Florida Railroad Museum, the museum in Parrish, Florida, where you get to ride the exhibits. Welcome back to the Sunshine State Rails, and in this video, we will be fully discussing the Florida Railroad Museum located in Parrish, Florida, along with some of the projects going on that anybody can go support with a few clicks. So whether it's a ride in the cab with the engineer, a World War II reenactment, or a ride out to the North Pole under the light of the full moon, the Florida Railroad Museum has something for everyone, rain or shine. So, what is the Florida Railroad Museum, one may ask? Well, it is roughly 6.5 miles of old seaboard trackage between Parrish, Florida and Willow, Florida, where the Florida Railroad Museum operates 4 trains every weekend, 2 Saturday, 2 Sunday. Departures being 11 a.m. and 2 p.m. That goes for the regular Saturday-Sunday operations, though this museum isn't just weekends. They have special events planned all throughout the year. Some of the most popular ones include Day Out with Thomas, Pumpkin Patch Express, and the North Pole Express. As we begin to get into our cooler months, there are many of these events coming up soon, so be sure to check out their website, which will be listed at the end of this video, for full details on how you can get yourself a ticket to ride along the old 1903 seaboard trackage. A very unique and respectable aspect of this museum is that with the exception of 4 to 5 paid members, the entire museum staff are volunteers. So when you see these people on your train car giving their safety briefings and telling you the history of what this line once was, they aren't there for the money, they're there for the hobby. All train rides begin here in Parrish. This is where you can buy your tickets on site and enter some old memorabilia rail cars that they have on site, some that they have converted to gift shops and model railroad displays, and one that is just the way it was when it was shipped to them, on display for anyone to walk through and see how life was way back when. This museum has one at-grade railroad crossing that they cross over on their 6.5-mile trip, Dickey Road, an old dirt road crossing that houses a farming company and some residential homes at the end of the street. Then, after traveling the roughly 6 miles north, you will make it to their Willow rail yard. This rail yard is where a lot of the display items are kept, along with locomotives or rail cars that they are doing maintenance on, or some that they are completely reviving. Maintenance equipment and track supplies are also stored here. The field over to your left is where the museum will hold all of its special events, with the exception of some of the events where the scenes are held to the right. After being let off the train to walk through their Willow Depot to look at some other memorabilia for about 10 minutes, or after the event that you have came for has ended, you will get back on the train and ride all the way back. On the weekend trips, that usually is about 90 minutes. Now that we know what the Florida Railroad Museum is and what they do, if you didn't already know those two things, we can move on to the projects that are going on around this time in 2019. Project number 1 is a track expansion. In their Willow train yard, they are extending 2 of their tracks with new ties and rails about 1,500 feet northward, which will give them more room to display their old memorabilia or cars that they are waiting to work on. Project number 2 is a locomotive restoration. CF7 locomotive number 204 that was inherited about a year ago from Port Sutton near Tampa, Florida, had been sitting silently at the museum on display for a number of months. But when the museum found that it was a worker earlier this summer, they decided to put the effort in to restore it, and they are currently doing so. They are pretty far along with this project, in fact. They have made amazing progress on this unit so far. Photo credit goes to William Grayson Chestnut and Bruce Jennings at the Florida Railroad Museum for doing all the work on this locomotive. Plans are to restore it to its original paint scheme. Here is a picture taken of such unit in this paint scheme somewhere between 1982 and 1990. Plans are to have this unit on power by late October, and by the looks of it, These guys will have no problem meeting that goal. The museum has lots of other projects in the works as we speak, though I have not been advised to make any of these public yet. You can donate toward these or the projects that I have mentioned, or simply to keep the museum running today by going to the museum's website at frrm.org. Here you will find a donate section where you can give as much or as little as you please, so head on over and give your 2 cents, maybe even literally, because as they did and still say today, every bit helps. By going to this website, you will find information about their upcoming events throughout the year, ticketing, or simply their schedule on how to get yourself a ticket to get out of the weekend blues and take a trip along their old 1903 trackage that has not been swapped ever since it was laid over 115 years ago. You may be one to ride the train, but have you ever wondered what it's like to be on the ground during all the other operations such as switching and coupling? Nobody? Just me? Yeah, alright. Well, for those of you who, for whatever reason, agree with me, there is an event coming up just for you. Museum volunteer Mark Manley is here to tell us about Railroading 101, an event that, well, I'll let him do the talking for you. Mark?
Okay, I wanted to explain Railroading 101 that we have right here at the Florida Railroad Museum. This is a chance for people to come to the train and learn more about railroading than an ordinary passenger on the train. So, it's a 2-day school, half a day one Saturday and all day the second Saturday. And the people that come to Railroad 101 will be able to come with the crew down on the ground during the switching, the coupling, the brake test. They'll be able to go up in the engine. They'll see more than you can see just by being a railroad rider. So come to Railroad 101 because we're going to run it here for the middle of November. It's the 16th and the 23rd, I believe, are the dates we've chosen. So the 16th you'll come at lunchtime, go home about 3:30. On the 23rd, you come at 8 o'clock in the morning and stay until 4:30 for the entire day with the railroad. So Railroad 101, to sign up, call the railroad office. They'll give you my personal phone number. I'll get called. I'll put your name down on the list and give you all the details you need to know. It's $29, and $20 of those dollars you can apply to a membership in the museum. Thank you very much.
Pretty interesting, eh? To sign up for Railroad 101, as Mark said, call the museum, which their phone number will be listed on their website that I gave earlier, and they will give you his phone number where you can talk with him and get yourself a reservation to interact with the trains we all love, such as this 1946 built Alco S2M, waking up on a cool morning in September. Railroad 101 will be held on November 16th and 23rd, so be sure to get your reservations in quick so you don't miss your opportunity to get hands-on with some old railroad equipment. So with the video coming to a close, whether you've been an all-time railroad enthusiast or you're just looking to get out of the house on the weekend with your equally enthusiastic kids, what are y'all waiting for? Head right on over to the website of the museum today and either donate toward projects that keep the museum running or to get yourself a ticket to ride along on the train, in the cab of the locomotive, or even a ticket to head out to the museum on November 16th and 23rd to attend and be a part of Railroad 101 that is being held fairly soon, so get your reservations in while you can. So at the Florida Railroad Museum, this is Kotabeaner. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time on the Sunshine State Rails.